Hi everyone, Ali here. Today I thought I'd do a Take 5 art journal. This was inspired by Kyra Pace from Simply Creative Kyra. I'll add her YouTube channel below so you can check that out. She really inspires me with everything that I do. And she's a lovely person as well. So I've added a couple of prompts to the Take 5, and it's to add paisley to it. So first of all, I'm prepping my page with gesso all over, and I have sped this up today, so because it took me quite a while to do this journal, but I had so much fun. So, and as usual, I can't wait, so I dry it off with my heat gun. So first of all, I'm going to add some circles. Now, I've got an old book page and I always draw on my circles first, just as a guide. So it enables me to figure out if I've got enough circles, basically, for my page. So after cutting all of these out, I place them randomly all over my page. And I have cut quite a few circles out. So to adhere them to the page, I'm using a gel medium and just randomly placing them on the page, making sure that they're going to be stuck down quite well. I also make sure that my pencil marks are underneath so they're not showing, just in case they do show through later on. So now I'm going to use some acrylic paint, using some pink and some lavender paint, because I always think paisley, when I think of paisley, I think of pink and lavender colours, those soft colours. So doing both sides, but I wanted some lavender in there, so I thought I'd border the page with some pink acrylic paint. And then in the middle there, I put the lavender colour through. I also added a little bit of water just to give it that little bit of a wash effect onto the page, and it made it spread out quite well, actually. So then I've got some white acrylic paint, because one of the prompts were to use white. So I thought I'd just give it a bit of a wash white over the top of these colours. So, and it just made it a bit of a faded thing as well. So I grabbed a wet wipe, and then I thought I really need to enhance those cutouts, circle cutouts. So I just removed some of the colour off those old book page circles, and also just blended around the side. Oops, some paint came off there, but no worries, everything's fixable. So after cleaning up, give it a hit with the heat gun, and using some white colour. Now I thought I'd use some acrylic white paint here, and just with a sponge dabber, just go over the white pages. But when I was starting to do this, I found that it was a faded white, it wasn't a brilliant white. So I got out my gesso and thought, right, I'll do some white on here, and if need be, then So after giving the page a blast with the heat gun, and I needed to have this dry, my next prompt was adding paint with a gift card. So this is where I got a deep violet colour and a brilliant pink colour, and I think this is a really great effect. I love this effect, and it's only something that I've just started doing. So I went all over the page and hit it with the heat gun. Had a bit of a splatter there, but nothing a bit of paint couldn't fix. So my next step, was to add paisley and or swirls. So I wanted to do the paisley. So these paisley stamps, they're a no brand stamp. So I got them online somewhere, and they were really cheap. I think I paid about $1.50 or something for them. So now I'm prepping my page with my embossing buddy that I made myself, just out of an old stocking and baby powder. Just so, because I'm actually going to use embossing powder, which is another prompt, to emboss over these paisleys. So initially this first page I was a bit slow in doing the embossing because the Stampin' Up ink does dry a little bit quicker than if I was to use an embossing Versamark ink. So, but it still worked out okay. So I just wanted a random effect. So here it is. I use a super fine clear embossing powder. This is a Ranger brand. I love this brand. It's really nice and fine and embosses beautifully. So I give it a blast with the heat gun. So, and this is where I found that there wasn't a lot of embossing powder on there sticking because the ink is a faster drying ink basically. But learnt for my next page, so which I'm going to do in a tick. So overall, I was quite happy. Yep, so it's all good, nice and dry. So decided to get a baby wipe just to stick the stamps onto it so I could clean after I finish this next page. So once again used my my DIY embossing buddy and randomly stamped. So on this second page I only did a few stamps, you'll see, before doing the embossing powder. So put the embossing powder on. And flicked off most of it. I love this technique. So I did do a YouTube on resisting embossing powder as well, so if you wanted to see that. So I dried it before I moved on, and I found that this was a little bit better because of the Stampin' Up ink drying quicker, so I thought I'd just break the page down. So I just moved a little bit quicker on this one as well. So paisleys are beautiful on these, so I was really pleased with this, and I just wanted a random effect in no particular order. So once again, put the embossing powder on, give it a bit of a flick off. You reuse the powder, so stick that back into my container, and I use the clear embossing powder probably the most out of all the embossing powders that I use. I do like that raised effect. So, and as you can see, as you're putting the heat gun over it, it changes the colour to a nice brilliant black, but it's also slightly raised. So I thought that it needed a couple of paisleys over on my first page there. So I stuck a couple there. put the embossing powder on. Give it a flick off. And give it a blast with the heat gun. So that's my page so far. So my last one was to add twine. So I initially had a brown twine to use. As you can see, I couldn't even find the end on this one. I changed it to the crocheting twine. I got this cheap somewhere for $1 somewhere, and I thought, oh, it's something I can use when I have to use twine. So I thought, right, how am I going to do this? I want to try and use it as a border. I know, I'll put a dollop of PVA glue on it and I'll run the twine through the glue. Well, what a messy task this was. So I thought, I ended up picking it all up and sticking it all in the glue, getting my fingers in there and swirling it around, putting more glue on, why not, and giving it a really good stir. So making sure that the twine was coated really good with this glue, because I don't want the twine falling off, because this is going to be my border. So start at the top, and it gives you a natural corner going around the corner there. Oops. And then just gave it a snip there. I thought I'll do a page at a time. So, and I thought the effect was quite good. It sort of finished off the page. If you see the left to the right, it was, the right looked really good. So continued on. Yep, making a mess with the glue. So get the glue in and make sure this twine isn't going to come off. So once again, and it makes a really nice corner. It just has a natural curve to that, to the corner. So I didn't really have to do the corners. So just neatened up that join there, made sure it was okay. So looked pretty good. So after I did that, just gave my work surface just a quick clean and clean my fingers. So yeah, it was pretty messy. Then my quote. So I've got a heap of quotes that are in the back of my folder. If you haven't seen my folder, go and have a look how I organise my dies and stamps. In the back of my folder I have heaps of quotes that I've collected off the internet. So today's quote is, let whatever you do today be enough. Believe. So in other words, believe in yourself that you can do enough for the day, because you can. So I thought that was really good. So I just went round with a sponge dauber and some distress ink. So I think this was Wild Violet that I used, and I just put it on, glued it down onto some purple cardstock that I've got. It's a fairly heavy cardstock, so it's about a 180 pound cardstock that I do use. So I wanted it heavy. So that's all done, and voila, cut it all out, and I distressed the outside of the purple as well with black soot distress ink as well, just so it could give it that pop as well. So arranged them on the page. So my focal point is my quote today, along with the 6 elements that I used out of my bucket. So now I used this clear adhesive glue. I find when I do use this glue, I've got a couple of encyclopedias that I actually, that are quite heavy and big, and I stick them on there for a good 5 minutes, and so they make sure they stick down in place. So that's my art journal. Oh no, before I do, I was not happy with how some of the paisleys did not stamp very well. So I got my fine Sharpie, added the dots in. So I think there was about 2 or 3 paisleys that weren't very clearly stamped. So I'm just filling that in with just a black marker pen. So after doing that, that's finished. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.